So I thought I'd add a last section with some broken down transformational in-field footage, which is broken down footage that was filmed with audience members during my live event, Transformation Mastery Live. And what I did here is I've selected some of my favorite segments from this event, each focusing on and illustrating a specific point, a specific aspect, if you will, and I've broken them down for you in extreme detail in order to provide you with concrete, real-life examples of everything that we've discussed so far. Okay, you're going to see everything we talked about here in the following videos in action with people just like you and me, and this will really help add more context to this information and help cement it as well. Okay, that's my big goal with this section. And I also want to introduce here the outer approach. And this is huge. Okay, so far, there's been a big focus on the inner approach. That is how you get to the cause. Okay, remember, this is primarily an inner journey. You cannot get to the cause externally. However, this does not mean that you can't also use an outer approach to your advantage. Okay, as long as you don't confuse this outer approach with getting to the cause, you can still use it as an extra tool or an extra stepping stone, if you will. And you can hit it from both angles, internally but also externally. And this is a big part of this event where, you know, if you think of it like this, take someone who's extremely introverted or shy, just very stifled and reserved. Most likely that person was shamed during their upbringing. You know, they were shamed for being loud, putting themselves out there, expressing who they are. Someone told them, hey, no, don't talk back, don't be loud, don't take up so much space, don't extend your behavior past this certain point here, stay shy, stay introverted. And in order to cope, you took on this front of just being very quiet all the time. Now, this doesn't mean, as a little side note, that you can't be quiet or reserved at times. You know, it all depends on the place it's coming from. Are you doing it out of inspiration or desperation? And someone who's always stifled and quiet and reserved, I can guarantee you there are a lot of times where it's out of desperation or it wouldn't be so compulsive. So for that person, getting to the cause, and this is the inner approach, would be going back and letting go, you know, of all of those times they were shamed, of letting go of all that resistance to putting themselves out there. However, you can also use the outer approach by, for example, practicing screaming, practicing extending your behavior past that certain point. By doing something like this, you know, screaming, for example, although it doesn't get to the cause, what it does do for someone who's extremely shy, introverted, and reserved all the time is that it gives them, one, a reference of nothing bad happening. And this is big because the fear that we have is, oh my God, if I stop being introverted, if I extend my behavior a little too much, I will die. It's irrational, but that's the fear we have. It's that fear of death. And what you do here, especially when it's a huge crowd, is you've proved to yourself that you didn't die. You proved to yourself that, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe it wasn't all that unacceptable after all. And the other thing that it does is it gives you a reference reminding you what it feels like to be authentic. And that's the biggest one. You know, you hear there's that expression, fake it till you make it. In reality, it's act real until you remember. It's not fake it till you make it, it's act real until you remember. Because fake it till you make it, what it implies is you are real right now. You know, that person who is shy, introverted, reserved, that's them being real. And them then being loud, you know, being more extroverted, that is them faking it. But that's not true, okay? Them being fake is them being introverted all the time. It's them being reserved all the time. That's not them being real. That's them being fake. That's them putting on this front, this personality that they developed early on in order to cope with the fact that it was not acceptable to be very loud in, you know, this household. It's not acceptable to be extroverted in this household. So to cope, they put on this front of being introverted. And they've been putting it on and buying into it and investing in it for so long, they've convinced themselves that is real. They've convinced themselves me being real is me being introverted. Wrong. Okay? Right now, what you think is real is fake. And you faking it till you make it, in reality, is you acting real again, reminding yourself what being authentic feels like. This side is going to yell first, then this side, and you guys have to yell louder than this side. Then this side again, louder, louder, louder.
And I'll direct it, and when I do the final yell, for like 5 to 10 seconds, when everyone together, just go as loud as you fucking can. Whatever, if you feel like putting your arms up, you feel like jumping up and down, as long as it's not ruining the room, as loud as you fucking can. And mainly with this, notice what happens in your head. Notice how it takes sometimes some effort to get there, but once you pierce through, it is effortless, it is permanent, it just comes flowing the fuck out because you finally got out of your own way. Okay? So, let's start with this side. Loud as you can. 3, 2, 1. You. Everyone pause. You're gonna yell. Now notice this. I can always see it, by the way, how alive or how someone is in their head just by the way they look. Everyone's like going for it. Very much in your head. Now based on how much in your head, I'm actually nervous pointing you out because most likely you're gonna say in your head, and it was like, fuck you. Like that. But let's hope for the opposite. I'll do anything. Just be real. At least a smile. Let's try solo, one yell. Join in. Get out of your head. Join in. 3, 2, 1.
Scream. Scream.
Now, pause. Now, you're not doing it for me. Remember, you're not doing it for me. You're doing it for you. And there's little glimpses when people start screaming, you're like, good enough, good enough, good enough. Fuck the good enough. Like that's again, it's like right now, trust me, this sucks and it's scarier than anything. Like people experience this when they have to sing in front of people. You're like, oh. But if you just like surrender, like just stop trying so hard, like, because it requires so much effort, and that's one question you should all ask yourself, like, aren't you sick and fucking tired of just trying so hard? Aren't you tired of it? Of just maintaining this front, of just like trying to be cool and trying to be right. Like, aren't you just fucking tired? Like, this here will provide you temporarily that release and get you back in touch with what the goal is. And trust me, if this environment will do it, you'll be in this life of all the time. So just give it a chance, just for now. Just do it solo, and we can even go back and forth without cheating. Ah! 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 Whatever it takes, like, fucking man. Ah! I want that light. You have a bit of it, but then you're holding it back. You're like, all out. Like this it. The last scream you'll ever do. As loud as you fucking can. Like arms up, body in, everything. 3, 2, 1, after me. Ah! Better. Now, try doing this with the whole crowd and just even topping yourself. I want to see that light. And for anyone who's like resisting it, like, oh, I'm too cool, I'm too cool, I'm too cool. Fuck that shit. That's not cool. This side, everyone.
So that's really the goal of the outer approach here. It's getting a reference that nothing bad happened and reminding you what authenticity feels like. It doesn't get to the cause, but it's a good stepping stone there, okay? And this gets really intense as little side notes. As you'll see in the following videos, the exercises we do during this event, you know, it's not those exercises where you're just writing down goals, for example. It's intense. You know, it's like those fears that you have, that's what you have to like kind of plow through. And it's great because, I mean, I'm there so I can help direct you, and I'll break this down. You'll see me direct people through layers and layers of resistance in order to find what to let go of, or in order to really get some intense experiences, reminding themselves of, you know, who they are. And having the crowd there helps as well, you know, where if you get a reference of nothing bad happening and there's a lot of people, it's extremely powerful. And you can use the crowd as a support group when it gets really fucking scary. Like say, you know, you're there and you're diving into your subconscious and you're like, oh my God, just having a huge crowd to support you helps. And also you can use the crowd to put a little bit of pressure on you. You know, if you're someone who's like very shy and quiet, I may make you come in front and sing. And that can be extremely scary. But when you're there in front of the crowd, I'm there, so there's some authority, like, okay, sing. There's the huge crowd and everyone's like, you better do it. It kind of overrides your ego where you're like, oh my God, I don't have a choice anymore. And you just like plow through and actually sing and get a reference of putting yourself out there. So it's really good to kind of just push you over the edge. And yeah, I mean, this is what we're going to crack into here. I hope you're ready. And as a little side note too, if you want to attend Transformation Mastery Live, this is an event that I run around the world, and I'll put a link to it below this video. So if you click on the URL, you'll be able to see all of the upcoming dates. And let's do it.